Were you filming our banter the whole time, Darryl?
Nope. Just turned it on now.
We were talking smack about you.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And you don't feel comfortable doing it to my face?
I do.
After a drink, maybe.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to N Academy. I'm Darryl.
I'm Laura.
And our special returning guest. Say hello, sir.
Hello, I'm Scott.
And we are so happy to have you once again.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you for having me.
Laura, what are we here to talk about today?
Well, we didn't decide, so I'm going to go with the African Queen.
Beautiful. It's the next one I had in my list.
Okay, so we were talking about the African Queen.
African Queen, adapted from the 1935 novel the same name by C.S. Forrester. It was directed by John Huston, who has Maine ties. Good old John. Produced by Sam Spiegel, John Wolfe. Screenplay was adapted by James Agee, John Huston, John Collier, and Peter Vertel. I probably butchered your name, sir. I apologize. It was photographed in Technicolor by Jack Cardiff and has a music score by Alan Gray. I mentioned that because it was the first to be filmed in this new form of filming called Technicolor.
Interesting.
Stars Humfrey, Bogart, Katherine Hepburn, Robert Morley, Pete Bull, Theodore Beichel, Walter Cofield, Peter Swanwick, and Richard Marner, butchering those names all over the place. There you go. Was nominated for Best Director, Best Actor for Bogart, which he won, Best Actress for Katherine, and Best Screenplay. Go with some stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the summary, which is in World War I, East Africa, a gin-swilling Canadian riverboat captain is persuaded by a straight-laced English missionary to undertake a trip up a treacherous river and use his boat to attack a German gunship.
Fair.
So,
That's a mouthful. Yeah.
Exactly. That was not as easy as you think it was. So that is the summary, and I'm going to actually jump right to Scott on this one and ask Scott. You suggested that we talk about this one. It's on the AFI list, and why did you suggest African Queen?
I think it was the first movie I decided to watch when I thought about, gee, let me watch some old movies. What are some old movies out there? I don't know anything. Who are the big stars? The Call, Bogey, Hepburn. Let's look at the movies that are very popular. And so I watched that, and then that sort of inspired me to watch more. And so I watched quite a few at this point. So I revisited this movie again, and I liked it even more the second time I watched it. So I just found it very engaging. Both characters were very flawed and very mismatched as for a romantic scene. So you really didn't expect the romance to develop, especially with all the sweat and the grossness and where they were. It just didn't feel like it was going to be romantic. You figure it might be because it's Hollywood, but you're watching this story, you're getting pulled into the drama of going down the river and all the different things they encounter on the way, and of course the big war scenes as well. But then you actually believe the romance at the end, so that's kind of cool.
Excellent.
I want to, if I can, dive right into that because that's one of the questions that I had, unless you had more facts that you wanted to do.
No, I was just going to talk about my thoughts about African Queen, so go for it.
So the romance part of it. This is an older movie, and I think the stylization of movies and the way stories were told, particularly romances back then, were told in a different fashion than they are nowadays. Now we expect more nuance, we expect more development rather than just dive into a romance. Because let's be honest, like a third of the way into the movie or halfway through the movie, they're suddenly both like, I love you! And it just comes out of like nowhere, right? Like you see a little bit of build, but that actual romance just is suddenly there without any sort of real build to it at all. And then the last part of the movie, they're just firmly in their romance, which makes and is a strength of the movie, their love for each other as they go through these things. But that romance just comes out of nowhere.
I bought it though. I actually liked it.
I disagree. Yeah, I think it feels earned.
I'm not saying that it was a bad thing or a bad choice. I'm just saying it's abrupt. So it is a different type of romance than we're used to seeing in others, where it is the romance is developed of a will they, won't they, or something along those lines. They either play with that or they don't. It's just boom, suddenly they do, which is a bit jarring. So I'm preparing you. It is absolutely a romantic movie, but it is boom, sudden that they are now suddenly in love.
Yeah, but I disagree that it was that sudden, because I think also at the time there's so many like a man and a woman meet, because again, there's no such thing as premarital sex back in that
Sure.
day. So, especially with a missionary, a man and a woman like meet, they like each other, and boom, there's a romance. So I think that was actually
Okay, that's
fairly
fair.
true to the time
That's fair.
of, and also I think because of who she was and her character, you saw her character opening up and developing,
Yes.
and like she goes from this straight-laced missionary to, oh my goodness, like that was fun. I loved those rapids. Let's do that again. So you see, I saw the growth with her of opening up and being able to see him as a romantic partner, which was not surprising. It was because of her change that I saw the romance as not that jarring.
And let's talk about that for a second, because she is this very sheltered person before, and she is not the, I viewed her as not someone who is just suddenly opened up to adventure. She just suddenly opens up to life. Like, there is all of this stuff to be enjoyed, and I never knew that something simple like this could be so much fun, because I've never been allowed to do this. So this entire time she's on this voyage, she is completely open to everything and wants more and wants more. So while it's practical to not go down these horrible rapids, and it's a really bad decision, she pushes for it because she wants the enjoyment of this new experience, which that opening up is a driving force of part of this movie. So I enjoyed that immensely, and I think you're right.
All right, Scott.
And John Huston directed Hepburn in a certain way that gives life to what you're saying. When she first started rehearsals, and they were out there in Africa filming, and she was doing her scenes. She was coming across as very schoolmarmy, matronly, conservative, and mean, and condescending to Bogart's character. And he was like, do you think that this character is ever going to fall in love with this character if you continue to be that tight in your performance? It's not coming through as a three-dimensional, interesting character if you're that schoolmarmy. Yes, you are a schoolmarm, but how do we open you up to this? And he gave her an example, and she talked about this. There's an interview that she did on some talk show where she talked about how Huston got the performance out of her was by telling her to be like Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt was this, we all think highly of her. She was a wonderful speaker. Everyone loved her. She came from a certain place, and still everybody saw her in an empathetic way. But Eleanor Roosevelt was known to be very, very insecure about her looks. And she kept that to herself until she wrote about it, where she felt that she didn't deserve all of the notoriety and the time that she was in the public light. She didn't deserve it because she wasn't pretty. So she kept that insecurity close to the vest, and it tailored how she treated other people. So Huston told Hepburn, be like that. Add that to the character, where your character, yes, is this schoolmarm, but she's afraid of not being liked. And so that actually made it click for
Makes
her.
her vulnerable?
Yes.
Yes. I like that. I liked her relationship with Humphrey Bogart, because they really seemed to get along, and I think that was true behind the scenes as well.
Yeah.
And this is probably, for me, second to Casablanca as the most charming Humphrey Bogart, even though he is, I think, wildly unattractive in this movie, because he is hot, he is sweaty, he is gross, he is wearing clothes that are falling off of him, and so it's like charming, not attractive, but just he exudes this charm that you can see why she falls in love with him, because again, it's like he's not the best character in the world. He doesn't have the best character when he's first coming on. But I love that the minute he finds out that her brother has died, his kindness around, I'm going to take care of this.
Right.
I will, but there's not even a question, I will take care of the body, you get your stuff, I will take you to safety, I will take charge of this situation and make it all okay. And I love that there was just not even a question that I will make this okay.
Instant trauma bonding.
Yeah. Totally.
I've said it multiple times. I'm a massive Humphrey Bogart fan, and he's an incredibly talented, particularly for the time, actor. He has a great range, he has depth, all of that. But he is not an attractive person. He is not a movie star. He is not a Cary Grant.
No.
And so the ability for him to succeed despite all of that, I think, is one of his greatest strengths.
Absolutely.
One of the reasons I love him so much, because he is not your A-list Hollywood star. like star based on looks and everything, and he still is in these fantastic romantic leads.
Yes, yep, exactly. I also just like the tension of the movie is like there's something bad that happens and then they fix it and resolve it and then something terrible happens, and so it is that push-pull of, you know, there's an event, there's a resolution, there's an event, there's a bigger event, there's a resolution, there's a bigger event, and, you know, up to the point where they're going to be hanged, you know, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and the boat blows up. So,
Yeah.
spoiler alert. So
Yes.
it just, I really love the way that there's that push and pull and constant tension and release of tension, which you speak about a lot.
Mhm.
One of the questions I have, first off, I talk often about openings to movies. I think this was a good opening to this movie, but it's a little heavy-handed on just showing the jungle and the jungle noises. Like, we linger on that a little too long before we get to where we actually are. That's just a directorial choice. I didn't personally agree with it. It's just too much noise to start everything off. But I do question throughout this why, and I know it's rooted in the romance, but why does he follow her without pushing back more? Because he knows the things that she is forcing him to do are incredibly bad choices. They're not, the chance of success is very minimal, but he still goes along with it. And I don't buy that it's just because he's in love with her. There's got to be something else.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't able to pick up on what the something else was.
That's a great question.
I thought it was because she has a line in there like something to the effect of, you know, don't you care about your country? Aren't you going to
He's
protect
Canadian.
your country? Well, yeah, but Canada is in the First World War as well.
Sure.
So I guess that's where I looked at it, was she was appealing to his patriotism and his right, his sense of right and duty.
Okay.
Which again, I think in taking care of her at all, he has a big sense of right and duty.
I'll buy that.
So I don't know. What are
Maybe
your
he's
thoughts?
desperate for the money, maybe. I don't know.
Could be. Could be.
Interesting you talk about duty, because I watched a couple of historical narratives about this on YouTube recently, and I learned that because this is during a time when we had the Red Scare, and actors all over, including everyone involved in this film, were on a list, a black list of people that Hollywood was now seen in this light. And so they were all very nervous about their reputation as being patriotic. And so when they went out there, part of the motivation that each of them had, and they talked about this, was to show that they love America. So blow up a German ship, these actors now are off the list, is what the hope was.
So that's interesting because we just did a show on Yankee Doodle Dandy, and that's one of the reasons James Cagney did Yankee Doodle Dandy, was
There you
because
go.
he and his family were also on that list because he was quite liberal at that time.
Political
Makes sense.
motivations.
That's
Makes
right.
sense. I did not think about that.
One thing I did want to point out, and it's just amusing to me personally, Bogey's character in this one, he's just a horrible liar. He could not pull off a lie to save his life.
Fair.
Not at all. Like, it is so transparent. Like, he's telegraphing, I'm about to lie now. He just can't pull it off.
Fair, and that was obviously a choice because
Yes.
we've seen him lie in other movies.
So this is one that I almost did as a does it hold up, because
Okay.
I actually own this movie. I purposely bought it because of my love for it for the first time watching it. And even with its bad technical effects, there are a lot of bad technical effects on the river. Again, it's you buy it because of the emotional stakes they put in both before, during, and after. Like, the emotional stakes will carry you through these bad moments of just, because it's all they could do at the time. So I forgive a lot of that, not only because of the time, but because of how the film set up the emotional moments as you're going through these bad technical effects. So there's a lot of forgiveness in
Yeah.
this movie.
I think there needs to be some forgiveness of the beginning of the movie too, of the, you know, missionaries and colonization, good.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
actually really uncomfortable for the first like 10-15 minutes of this movie. I did not care for it. And once they start on the adventure, we're all set. But like there's a piece in there that's
There you go with your 2026 lens.
I
right?
am looking at it in 2026. In 2026, I am saying I don't like it, but I understand it and I'm not judging it from its time.
Right.
yeah, but
We
I
didn't
can't
judge
help
it
it.
back then, though.
We didn't, yeah, that's what I'm saying, is we didn't
Yeah,
judge it back
that's
then,
funny.
so just as I will watch a Woody Allen movie for
Sure.
whatever, it's art, I don't love it today.
It is interesting though to do a quick juxtaposition of this and the presentation of Missionary Style versus like Mosquito Coast and the presentation of Missionary Style.
Did
Where
you just say missionary style? Okay, never mind.
there's the
Style.
cloud, there's Missionary Style. I need to get laid is what I'm saying.
We can't help
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, I
sorry.
know, neither of you can help in that area. But the juxtaposition of the presentation of those, like in the 1980s, it was still a little forgivable, but it was being questioned far more than obviously it is now in 2026.
Agreed.
So the when you put those two up against each other, it is just different to see how a river voyage with missionaries in a remote area do get presented.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah, I like that this is kind of an adventure tale. If this was more of like a play, or we're only going to have a couple rooms and people are going to interact, the story, the romance would not be nearly as strong. Like you couldn't see just the two of these hanging out for a weekend and suddenly falling in love. That would not happen.
This was a novel idea at the time to go film on location and in Africa. So, because John Huston actually wanted to do this because he wanted to kill elephants. So he went out
Yeah.
there thinking, I'm going to hunt, do some trophy hunting,
And
and
have the
this is
studio.
my excuse. Yeah,
Studio pay for it.
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then while they're out there, apparently everyone got sick except for Bogey and Houston, because all they did was drink whiskey.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would
Yeah,
make total
that's
sense.
Smart, actually, depending on where they were.
That's right. And Hepburn got sick. She got so violently ill, she was vomiting while doing the piano scene in the mission.
Oh, man.
And so they had to keep cutting so that she could vomit. She had a bucket next to the piano while she was performing. So that's pretty admirable.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
that is
that's-
a professional right there.
That's,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
she's
wonder
amazing.
I don't know if they were actually Africans or not, but the people who were playing the natives just sitting there watching this white woman just consistently throw up, be like, what's wrong with you?
When an amateur.
Yeah.
Good point.
Let's talk about the journey in the river for a little bit, because obviously the river itself becomes its own character to navigate, to go through. And I thought Houston did a really good job of giving you enough of the danger, but also enough of a feeling of really being on a boat going down through. Like the atmosphere that he was able to create. Because there have been a lot of like, we'll get on a boat and go on a journey type things, where you don't really get that sense of really being there. But in this one, I think you did a really good job of giving you that presentation and feeling like you were on that boat with them. You got a little bit of the claustrophobia, you got the danger. Like, he just did a good job, I think.
Yep, completely agree. Yeah, I think that also it's one of those where like Humphrey Bogart was explaining it to Katherine Hepburn, but not in a overly,
Wasn't
info dump
mansplaining.
way. Exactly, it wasn't an overly, info dump way. Is the only way I can think of saying it. But he was saying, okay, so when the river looks like this, it's this. When it looks like that, it's dangerous, and I liked that.
And let's be a little honest too, she gets overly confident too quick. Like, just because she can steer the boat a little bit, suddenly she's a master and can steer through rapids. Like, no lady, I'm sorry, but a little more skill involved than
She
that.
started boat splaining.
Yeah, she did actually, you're right, she did.
Yeah. I also, a fun fact was Bacall came with them,
Oh, okay.
and she was just sort of the nursemaid and cook.
Oh,
So she came along for the ride and took care of people when they were sick, and she made a bunch of the meals for the cast and crew. And all the folks who were interviewed that had worked on that thanked Bacall for that, because she really was the glue that kind of held everyone together.
nice.
She was a fascinating woman. If you've ever read anything about her,
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Robards and Humphrey Bogart were her two husbands. I mean, that's a pretty impressive life she lived, I'm sure.
Yeah.
My only final question, and obviously you guys can say whatever you want, but I know it's the plot that's necessary to wrap up the movie, but it is a little convenient that the boat is flipped with the torpedoes out, that they just magically run into on this very wide lake.
Seriously.
But
It's one of many coincidences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker shoots like the one shot in the teeny tiny hole with the thing. I'm sorry.
No, okay, that's totally fair.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
totally
Like,
fair.
let's not try to make this more than it was.
All right, fair. I have been officially put in my place. All right. That's all I have. Do you guys have anything else?
I had two
Oh,
more
yes.
fun facts.
Okay.
One of them, Hepburn's contract. She required that she had her own bathroom.
Oh, that would make total sense.
And so they created a pontoon boat just for her with its own little potty in it.
Aw.
That ran behind the boat while they were filming.
Oh my god.
That lasted for a few days, and then it was destroyed by all the water. And so that she had to suck it up and go pee and poop in the woods with everybody else.
Oh
So,
man,
yeah.
I would have stood there till they fulfilled my contract.
That's right.
Build me another one, motherfucker.
Exactly.
And I also want to talk about animal welfare. So,
Oh, yeah, please.
That boat was, when it was exploding, people were jumping off the boat. There's one scene at the end where, and I'm watching, I didn't notice until the second time watching it. One of the folks that worked on the boat suddenly takes this cat and throws it overboard.
I did not notice that.
I didn't notice that.
As
either.
a cat fanatic, I was completely, it took me out of the
Yep.
film, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Like, what happened to this cat? So I started Googling that. I'm like, what happened to the cat? And nobody knows what happened to the cat. There's a lot of cat fans that are out there talking about this. So there are blog pages about this, and nobody knows what happened to the cat. And animal welfare at that point in time in films wasn't codified like it is now. No animals
Yeah.
were harmed. But there were some protections in place where people were on board to make sure that animals weren't harmed, even though it wasn't really required. There was, I forgot which film it was, but before this film, there was a film where famously some horses died.
Ben-Hur.
Was it Ben-Hur?
Yeah, we just did it.
Okay. And I think because of that, that raised the alarm about this
And
issue.
that was the original Ben-Hur, because in the remake with Charlton Heston, no horses died.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize that. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. And so this movie came after that.
Okay.
So they were.
Makes sense.
So I have some hope that the cat was taken care of in some way.
Well, and theoretically, there might have been more than one shot, so you got
Yeah.
to have more. You know, the cat's got to live, so then you can do it again.
Throw the cat, pick it up,
Yeah.
do it again.
Interesting.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. I mean, it obviously would be dead now, but
Certainly.
like, hopefully it did
I
not
hope
die.
it lived a nice life.
Yes.
Nice long life.
Yes.
I did not notice that, but now I'm going to go back and watch it for it.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.